We're going to talk about the presidential assassination attempt and Houston still not having power. Two of my deals are not working. Don't take my word for it. Look that mess up, please.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? KCE, King Chaka.
An educated and united public cannot be controlled. Get organized. Learn to be active.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Did you tell her to get away from me? She's crazy.
Choose your destiny.
An educated and united public cannot be controlled. Get organized. Learn to be active.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? KCE, King Chaka.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone. ¿Cómo estás? Bien, bien, bien. ¿Podemos ayudarnos más? Sí se puede. And don't take my word for it. Look that mess up, please, for your own benefit. Yep. Crazy times in America, crazy times in the US. Don't normally drink during a show, but when I do, it's after a presidential attempted assassination. Crazy times. How y'all feeling out there? Y'all feel good? Really strange timeline that we're in, isn't it? It's like, I wonder how the rest of the world looks at this, you know? We watch the news, we watch global world news, and then we see like a, assassination attempt on a world leader or something, and we're looking at it and we're like, man, can that country just get their stuff together, you know? I wonder if that's what they're saying about us right now. Like, God, they're really going through it over there. They need to get their stuff together. You know what they say, greatest country in the world, right? Greatest country in the world. Let's see. I'm not sure where I want to start. Let's look at newspaper articles. Let's check out the headlines. AP top headline, no surprise. It says how the attempted assassination of former President Trump unfolded. It says former President Donald Trump was the target of an assassination attempt as a barrage of gunfire at a Pennsylvania rally set off panic as a bloodied Trump, who said he was shot in the air, was surrounded by Secret Service and hurried into his vehicle. Yeah, man, this is this image is his historic. It's a historic image for sure. I think it's gonna be on T-shirts. We're gonna use it as a campaign deal. We're so close to the election. Can't blame them for using it.
The rally in Butler, Pennsylvania was supposed to be former President Donald Trump's last campaign stop before the Republican National Convention. The speech was to a packed crowd in a critical swing state, but in just a matter of minutes, it was cut short.
Take a look at what happened.
I'm at the Trump rally and somebody just started shooting.
It was bullets. I mean, it wasn't firecrackers. I mean, they weren't super loud shots, but you could tell they were
You could hear it landed, the ammunition landed on metal.
Multiple witnesses say they saw the suspected shooter climb to an elevated position outside the rally venue, which was less than 150 meters away from where Trump was speaking.
He's on top of the roof. Don't go over there. He's on the roof, buddy.
So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle.
The FBI identified the shooter as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. Secret Service agents fatally shot Crooks at the scene. Trump said in a statement that the upper part of his right ear was pierced in the shooting. In a statement issued shortly after the attack, Trump's campaign said he was, quote, fine, unquote. Authorities say one attendee was killed and 2 spectators were critically injured in the first assassination attempt on a U.S. president or presidential candidate since 2005.
Crazy.
The rally in Butler, Pennsylvania was supposed to be
Crazy times. Let's look at the article a little bit. Let's see. By Jamie Stingle, July 14, 2024. It says, former President Donald Trump was the target of an assassination attempt at a Pennsylvania rally Saturday that set off panic as a bloody Trump was surrounded by Secret Service and hurried to his vehicle. A former fire chief attending a rally with a family was killed, as was the gunman. 2 other people were critically wounded. Former fire chief. An AP analyst of more than a dozen videos and photos from the scene of the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, as well as satellite imagery of the site, shows the shooter was able to get astonishingly close to the stage where the former president was speaking. Here's what's known so far about the timeline of the shooting. 6:02 p.m., Trump takes the stage to the strains of God Bless the USA. He waves at the cheering crowd and begins his regular rally speech with spectators both in front of him and behind him on risers. Around 6:10 p.m., after rallygoers noticed a man climbing on top of the roof of a nearby building, a local law enforcement officer climbs to the roof, according to Butler County Sheriff Michael Sloop. A man identified by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks turned toward the officer just before the officer dropped down to safety, Sloop said. It says gunmen opened fire from outside Trump event. A man armed with an AR-style rifle fired from a rooftop during Donald Trump rally in Pennsylvania Saturday. Trump was wounded and the alleged shooter was killed. So it has like a panoramic of where the law enforcement counter snipers were, where the gunman was. It says assailant fired several shots from less than 150 meters away, wounding Trump. It says Crooks then quickly fires, according to two officials who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity, to discuss an ongoing investigation. Trump is showing off border crossing numbers when gunfire begins. As the first pop rings out, Trump says, "Oh," and raises his hand to his right ear and looks at it before quickly crouching to the ground behind his lectern. Secret Service agents rush to the stage and pile on top of former president to shield him. Coi Comparatore, 50-year-old former fire chief attending the rally, is shot and killed. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro said Sunday that Comparatore used his body as a shield to protect his wife and daughter. Secret Service counter snipers fired back and I guess they wanted to say shot Crooks. Who edited this? About 1 minute after the shots, Trump gets to his feet and reaches with his right hand towards his face, which was smeared with blood. As Trump stands up, he pumps to the crowd with his right fist. These photos are going to be infamous. He appeared to mouth the words "fight" twice to his crowd of supporters, prompting loud cheers and then chants of "USA, USA, USA." About 2 minutes after the shots, Trump turns back to the crowd and again raises a fist right before agents put him into a vehicle and he is taken to a local hospital. "6:50, the Secret Service says the former president is safe." 8:42, Trump posts on social media site that he was injured in the upper part of his right ear. "I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin," he said. Donald Trump: "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all the law enforcement for the rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then that what was happening. God bless America." About 12:10 a.m., Trump's private jet lands at Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. Video posted by an aide showed the former president deplaning, flanked by the U.S. Secret Service agents and heavily armed members of the agency's counter-assault team. It was an unusually visible show of force by his protective detail. Trump travels to his private golf club in nearby Bedminster, New Jersey, to spend the night. And they tell him where he's at. Stengel contributed to this report from Dallas. Associated Press writer Michael Bussamole. ... Let me see. Was it a video I skipped over? These pictures are going to be remembered.
Since 1848, the Association.
We don't want to hear any ads.
Really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
What angle was the guy shooting from? Apparently not a good shot.
Hold, when you're ready, on you. Ready, move, up, move, go.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare. Get ready.
You ready? Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move? Let's move. We're clear.
They said shooters down. We're clear to move. They laid him out real fast, apparently.
I got you.
Let me get my shoes. Hold on, your head is bloody. So we gotta move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Watch out.
He was like, let me get my shoe. So what? He lost his shoe during the situation. Let's play this one.
Since 18.
The freaking ad.
In the United
I was watching Tim Black and he was blaming the media, and I have to kind of agree with him. I feel like, the rhetoric, this divisive, polarizing rhetoric that we hear from the media day in and day out, they have to take some accountability for this stuff, because, they wanted to hold Donald Trump accountable for the stuff he said that led to January 6th. But we're not when the media says all of this like stuff like about Trump, it's like the end of the world. Like this guy's the Antichrist, like this guy's Hitler or whatever. When they talk like that, they have to know that there's some idiot out there who's gonna take those words and act upon them. I feel like they should be held to some standard to keep from being able to this incendiary type of language, like this language that incites violence, and I would say it's true for both sides. It's true for both sides. Both sides do it, and it's not okay. It's not okay to be like, I want Nancy Pelosi to not be alive or whatever. I want something to happen to Whitmer or something. I want something to happen to Biden, or I want something to happen to Trump or whatever. That language, the way that they talk, is a real problem. Our media is not very good, man. It's like journalism is dead, and all you have is these clickbait stories. This stuff that gets you all emotionally charged. Let's hear what Biden had to say.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled it before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer.
Yeah, I have to say,
Sale-a-thon is on at the 2023 GM.
it really doesn't matter which side you're on. This is not cool. Like, this is not a good thing. It's not a good look. You know, where do we go from here? You know, all of the finger pointing is going to happen and people are going to, you know, get all emotional. It's, see, that's why it's like profit over people is a problem, because the media is going to eat this up. You know, they're going to make stories. They're going to get clicks. They're going to get views. The advertisers are everyone's going to make money off of this. You know, like, they don't care that somebody was injured. Somebody passed away. Someone's no longer with us. Like, it's like, if it bleeds, it leads, you know? And the cycle continues of this, you know, this rhetoric that leads people to doing horrible things. So the RNC, the RNC, so it's going to be a lot of security as a result of this. At the convention, probably at the DNC too, because some people are going to be, you know, looking for retaliation, you know, even though they said that the guy was a registered Republican or whatever. You know, you're not going to be able to tell some people that it wasn't like Democrats who did it or whatever. And then you're going to have somebody that's going to try to retaliate. And I hope I'm wrong about that. It says Donald Trump arrives in Milwaukee for RNC after assassination attempt, heightens security fears. And I wonder about his rallies. Is he going to continue to do those outdoor rallies like that? It's got to be difficult to secure those outdoor rallies like that. He probably should do them inside. Let's look a little bit at this. AP, July 14, 2024. Former President Donald Trump has arrived in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention a day after he was targeted in an attempted assassination at a campaign event. Trump's airplane touched down Sunday, the day before the 4-day event kicks off. So it starts tomorrow. With thousands of Republicans coming together to formally elect him as their 2024 presidential nominee. The shocking scenes of violence at his Saturday campaign rally that injured his right ear, killed a spectator, and injured another set a dark backdrop for the convention, which is typically 4 days of party pageantry, political speeches, policy platforms, and presidential nominees' keystone address. Yeah, man. They're going to have to rewrite his speech. It's going to be good, and people are going to tune in for that. The attack on Trump has put a heightened focus on safety and security for the event. The former president said in a social media post earlier Sunday that he was going to delay his trip by 2 days because of the attempted assassination, but have just decided that I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force change to scheduling or anything else. Yeah, the terrorist wins when you change your plans and stuff. Surprised they're not calling him that. Like he's a terrorist. You know, it was a terrorist attack. How come they don't say that? It's like for you to be a terrorist, you have to be a Muslim. You got to be a jihad. No, this guy is a terrorist. Clearly, that was a terrorist act. What else can you call it? Let me see. Let's look at this one. It says America's toxic political climate faces calls to tone it down after assassination attempt on Trump. You know, it's been a powder keg for the longest, and it's not getting any better. Like this isn't, you know, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. This really terrible partisan politics, that trip that we've been on for a while now, where you have the people saying the left this, the left this, the left this, and then the other ones are saying the right this, the right this, the right that. You know, the Democrat ran cities, you know. That kind of talk is what leads to this. Like, you know, your neighbor is your enemy because they have a different political ideology, and we're not talking. Like, this is what I do on this show because you know, I have viewers who are on the left and viewers that are on the right, because I try to be fair and have these conversations from both sides. Like, because I really passionately believe for us to move forward, we have to move forward together. And for us to move forward together, we have to be able to have grown-up conversations about difficult topics, you know, and we have to be honest, you know. We can't just be pointing fingers, you know. Everyone has, you know, a part in this, one way or the other. We all have a part in this. So we got to accept what we did wrong, you know, and we need to talk about it and figure out how we're going to move forward. But as long as we're just pointing fingers and saying that it's the other side's fault, the other side, that they did whatever they did, and that's the reason why everything sucks. And if the other side wins, then, you know, it's the end of the world. As long as we keep talking like this situation is going to keep on escalating and keep on getting worse. And that's where we are. People just root for their team, regardless if it's truth or not. Like, even when it doesn't align with their political ideology, they still root for them because it's their team. And it's like, you have to root for your team. You have to. Where is whatever happened to character and integrity, truth? It says Lisa Mascaro and Gary Fields, July 14, 2024. Washington P. Tone it down. That was the plea from the Republican congressman as he came to grips with this assassination attempt against Donald Trump at a political rally in Butler Farm area where he grew up. I'm in a state of bewilderment of how and what has happened to the United States of America, Representative Mike Kelly told the Associated Press earlier Sunday. The shocking attempt on Trump's life has brought into stark relief the toxic climate in America's political life. While the details of the shooter's motive remain unclear, the violence is a further gauge of how what was once unacceptable, if not unthinkable in American society, has become painfully commonplace. As the 2024 election enters a crucial phase ahead of the national conventions, how the nation responds will test the first presidential contest since 2020, an election that became defined by the efforts to overturn Trump's defeat and the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. You know, and a lot of people are saying this pretty much guarantees Trump a win, and they're probably right. And then, but what if, you know, he doesn't win? How are people going to react? You know, are people going to accept that loss? or are they gonna, get violent? It says on Sunday, civic leaders, pastors, and elected officials from President Joe Biden on down appealed to Americans for unity, urging an end to vitriol. Yeah, I could see them saying, it's like they're two-faced though. On one hand, they'll be like unity, and then on the other hand, they're gonna say the right, the right, the right, the conservatives, the conservatives, the Republicans, the Republicans. You can't do that. You can't do both. If you want to have some bipartisan, motions, then you have to, accept your role in things and admit that you suck at some stuff, like it's not all them on the other side. It's us too. So then once you go there, then you can begin a conversation, because if you start off saying, we need to have unity, and then you go to saying the other side did such and such and such, and it's, it's their fault, whatever. It says, we can't allow this violence to be normalized, Biden said in an evening address to the nation from the Oval Office. Under a charged atmosphere, the Republican National Convention opens this week in Milwaukee to re-nominate Trump to lead the ticket, while Democrats prepare for their own convention next month, uncertain if the party will stick with the incumbent Biden in an expected rematch. Trump's rhetoric, though tempered in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, had taken a deeper and darker tones in his third campaign for the White House. This spring, Trump, who has accused migrants of poisoning the blood of the country and vowed to launch the largest domestic deportation operation, told auto workers there would be a bloodbath in this country if he's not reelected. See, that's the kind of talk that's a real problem. If we don't win, I think our country is finished, he said during the New Hampshire primary. Trump has promised retribution on his political rivals, particularly those in the Justice Department, after he was indicted on federal charges of storing classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago home and in the conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. Trump also make light of violence. When Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was attacked by an intruder looking for the former House Speaker at the family's San Francisco home in 2022, being over the head with a hammer, Trump mocked the security fencing she had installed as insufficient. Trump drew chuckles in a speech before California Republicans last year when he asked, "How's her husband doing, by the way?" Biden, in turn, has warned that Trump's return to power poses a grave threat to the country's civic traditions. He chose a location near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, for his initial 2024 campaign event, portraying the likely rematch as all about whether democracy can survive. Addressing the nation Sunday, Biden pointed to past examples of political upheaval, including January 6th and more recently, harassment of elected workers, and said, "There's no place in America for this kind of violence, for any violence ever." Yeah, man, it's been death threats on, that kind of stuff has happened before in the past. It's just that it's really, really ramped up right now. We're going through a cycle of, violent upheaval. I don't know what's going to get it to simmer down. Reading on, it says, still one of Trump's potential vice president picks, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, said on social media over the weekend that Biden's earlier rhetoric against Trump led directly to the attempted assassination. And that's what I'm saying. The rhetoric is coming from both sides. And House Speaker Mike Johnson, who said it's time to turn the temperature down in this country, also singled out for blame Biden's recent comments during a call with political donors in which the president said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. Another reading on, it says, Johnson said he knows Biden didn't literally mean Trump should be targeted, but added that kind of language on either side should be called out. I agree. I really agree. I mean, In the bullseye, I'm sure he didn't mean like, like the sight on your scope. But at the same time, you have to be very careful with the words that you use. It's going to be somebody out there who's going to take that completely literally. Nick Beauchamp, an associate professor of political science at Boston Northeastern University, said there is an opportunity now for political leaders to start framing their critiques of the others in words that explicitly denounce violence. From the 1968 killings of American leaders Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. to the 1981 attack on President Ronald Reagan to shootings of Republicans and Democrats in the past decade, the violent strain has always been part of American politics. Other violent incidents have intersected more recently with the nation's political struggles in frightful ways. Outside Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's suburban home, a man with a knife and a gun who threatened to kill the justice was arrested in 2022. Members of Congress have experienced increased security threats, and harassment against election officials from cities and states across the nation has led to a wave of departures because of threats on their livelihoods. Yeah, I remember a bunch of stuff about people stepping down. They're like, I don't want to deal with this, so I don't, I quit. You can't blame them. Last summer, FBI agents fatally shot Utah man who had threatened to assassinate Biden and referred to him as a MAGA Trumper. That followed a series of drive-by shootings earlier in the year targeting Democrats in New Mexico, a startling outburst that led to criminal charges against a failed state legislative candidate who had parroted Trump's rigged election rhetoric. A gunman who died in a shootout in 2022 after trying to get inside the FBI's Cincinnati office apparently went on social media and called for the federal agents to be killed on site following the search at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Jacob Ware, a research fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations who focused on domestic terrorism, said, "The warning lights have been blinking red regarding violence in this election cycle for months, if not years." As Trump took the stage Saturday evening, he had opened the rally in Pennsylvania as he often does, marveling at the big, beautiful crowd gathered to see him and demeaning Biden's own crowds as paltry in comparison. The former president had just started his speech, launching it into his mass deportation agenda and complaints of a nation in decline. "Our country is going to hell," Trump said. Minutes later, shots rang out. Representative Dan Muser of Pennsylvania, who was sitting with other Republican officials behind Trump, called it just a terrible tragedy. The level of lack of civility and hostility, maybe this will send a ringing signal to all those to cool it. I doubt it. As Americans took stock Sunday, the common message was a call for unity. The Reverend Chris Morgan, senior pastor of Christ United Methodist Church in Bethel Park, which is a few streets away from where the shooter lived, urged his congregation during a morning service to pray for the country. Clearly, there's a lot going on and a lot that is causing people to have great anxiety and great struggle, he said. "I want to encourage you to be praying for those that have been involved, that they can find what it means to show kindness to others." Yeah. We all need to be a little more kind to our neighbors. Maybe we'll get that from this. Hopefully we do. What's up, Pat? Is that a TV you got going in the background?
Probably two of them.
Yeah.
It's really interfering with the sound.
I can't hear it that much right now, but if you could get those volumes down, it'd be great.
Hold on, I got a solution to that.
All right.
I've been listening for a little while, and people are harping on the things that Trump has said, but at no point have you brought up some of the things that Biden has said. about not just Trump, but his followers or people who support him. And I think that's a problem because most, you know what I'm saying, because a lot of people don't really harp on it so much, but they harp on the side of whatever Trump has done. And wait a minute, hold on, let me.
I just read in the article where they was talking about how Biden said we need to put Trump in the scope or whatever. He needs to be in the target or whatever. I can't remember the exact words now. But yeah, the article I just read was covering both sides, saying, you know, bad rhetoric that incites people and, you know, is leading to this situation that we're having. Both sides are guilty.
Yeah, well, because I mean, you know, I think there's been a gloves off approach for the whole time. Because I mean, even you know, like Trump has threatened to go after some of his political people, but he's never actually tried to put a case on them. Where, you know, if he really wanted to, I mean, of course, you know, the security.
Where you're breaking up. Let's go to some of this. I'm gonna come back to AP in a minute. We can't hear you right now. We lost you.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let me turn my
Let me see. Do I have let's do this. It says rally shooting suspect did not make school rifle club, students say. It says the 20-year-old man let me read this right quick. It says the 20-year-old man suspected of trying to assassinate former President Trump previously tried to join his high school's rifle club, but was rejected and asked not to return. Two students who were members of the team at the time told ABC News. Authorities say the suspect, Thomas Matthew Crook, had no known mental illness history and worked as a dietary aide at a nursing and rehab center. Yeah, so I wonder why that he was rejected from that rifle club.
Well, somewhere they said that he was a registered Republican.
Yeah, that's what they said.
That's weird to me. But I mean, rhinos do exist, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, whatever his issue was, we'll never know because he's dead now. And without much speculation, I think that it's not necessarily I don't think anybody's going to come and try to hurt Biden because this guy tried to hurt Trump, because that's one of the things I was hearing you say, like this would trigger other people, or they're angry, this, that, and the other. Yeah, people end up being angry, but conservatives do things differently. And this 20-year-old obviously had some issues and probably was in a place where he could be manipulated mentally for him to do what he did.
Yeah, well, that you just described a huge segment of our society. You know what I mean? People are stressed out. People have mental health issues. You know, people are easily manipulated. You know, people are the media is outraging. You know, it's outrage media. Everything that goes down your timeline is like trying to get an emotional reaction out of you. You know, and when it gets to the point where someone doesn't have anything else to lose, like they don't see, you know, a way out, and they feel like they're painted in a corner, they feel like everything is hopeless, then they might just decide to do something on their way out, you know? Because they don't care anymore. They don't have anything to lose. You know, and that could be true from either side. Let me read some comments underneath this. It says, I wish people cared like this when children are being murdered in classrooms. You know, it's cool to, you know, feel some kind of way about, you know, school shootings. But like right now, we're not talking about school shootings. Like it's kind of crass, or it's kind of like it just doesn't show good class to make comments about school shootings underneath a post about the president attempted assassination. You could talk about guns, that's fair, but just like, I wish people cared like this about children being murdered in classrooms. Okay, I mean, I get your point, but this is not the place or the time for that. That's a little misplaced, I would say. Another comment says, no wonder he didn't with aim like that. Yeah, so it's like he didn't have good aim, but Another comment says, high school rifle club. Well, there's your problem right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if you really, I don't condone it. I don't like guns. And if my kid was like, I want to be a part of the rifle club at school, I'll be like, okay, go ahead. But, I'm not with you on that. You could do that's what you want to do, but I don't know that I'm a voice my opposition to it.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna surpass the my guts asking me, wanting to ask a certain question, because I think we have bigger things to talk about than the gun situation. But because like this, really, you see, when I left off the call, because you can hear me good now, right?
Yeah, you sound a lot better now.
Okay. When we're talking about this whole situation of political oppositions and things, like a lot of these things was started before, Trump. Now it's been a long history. We can go back to when, Trump was questioning Obama's actually being born here and this and all that other kind of stuff. But it's a lot of stuff that they did in spite of, like, if they would have left Trump alone, like maybe they wouldn't be dealing with him right now. But they picked at the bear, picked at the bear, picked at the bear. Now they got to deal with the bear because they try to act like he was totally incompetent and there was no way that he would ever become president. And I think that was a part of their arrogance. But at this point right now, like, they're trying to find ways, because they don't really want to deal with him, because they know that he's truly a force to be reckoned with, and like he's winning, and it's just plainly off of policy. It's not, what I'm saying? Yeah, he's entertaining, or, to some people, some people think it's crap or whatever, but like he's very entertaining, but at the same time, he's standing on what he's standing on. And a lot of times people don't know what really the, Democratic Party or these individual presidents really stand on, because they can be bought and sold quicker than anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I have to
and I know.
say, he can go by the nickname the Teflon Don. They've been trying to get him on all of these court deals. They having a hard time with that. Somebody tried to assassinate him. They didn't do that successfully. It's like this guy is like
untouchable.
Yeah, that's the way it looks, anyways.
Well, I mean, I think that there's just a higher force that is protecting him. I mean, I think people need to at some point realize that maybe, all of the crap that you've been ingesting through media, we know what the propaganda machine has done over decades, but now we believe and trust everything that they're saying and doing now. Like, like it's a bunch of trickery. I've worked in media. I know how you can clip things up and make it look and sound something totally different than what it truly started out as, contextually. So it's like people need to stop and like really, like in my opinion, I really feel like people really need to, ask themselves deep down, what do they stand for and what are they willing to fall for? Because I think you're in more of a trick bag following, you know, lost promises. Like, because I mean, there's so many things that's been promised over the years, but then when the next heat wave come, whatever the conversation is, oh, we'll grab onto that, we'll use that for a while, and then we'll blame somebody else for why it can't get done. And
Well,
that
I did a whole show on media literacy because I think that is really, really important, especially nowadays. We're inundated with so much media, so much stuff that it's difficult for people to navigate through it and be aware of when they're being misled or whatever. And I think everyone should take a media literacy class. Um, I took some classes last semester, and even myself, I felt like I'm very media literate. But once I took that class, I realized that it's really deep. It's like a lot of moving parts. It's a lot going on, and even people who are very media literate can be, misled. With disinformation, misinformation.
well,
Bad
the
stats and
moving,
stuff.
yeah, the moving parts thing is definitely something to be wary of, because it's like, no matter, because yes, no matter what, you can still be tricked, but you got to remember certain parts of things to check out for yourself. Like, that's the thing. Like, what's being said, what you hear, like, not that it's a lie, but that, you know to what extent of a lie is it? Because most likely there's some lie to it, or there's not enough information to really fully give you the context that you need to say, oh, this is good or this is bad. Because I mean, the biggest example right now is how they're pushing that the Project 2025. Yes, it exists on paper, but is that really something that Trump is pushing or promoting? And I think people really need to, because they don't know, to look further at what he really is supporting. But you can go to his website, because that's really his agenda. He ain't looking for somebody to tell him what to do. He's got a plan for him, for the country himself. And that's the thing, that like, this is the Heritage Foundation or whoever they are, come up with something that's very extreme, and like really nobody is on board with what they're trying to do. Like, what I'm saying, there's, of course, the far right, and then there's the far left. And like, people on even far right, other far right people's like, I don't know if that's really necessary. Okay, well, if some things, okay, maybe that's what we need to do, but that's not something Trump is pushing, and he's not gonna let anybody tell him what he needs to do. Like, if y'all don't know that about him yet, like, I mean, not that he won't take advisement from somebody, but you know, he did good as a president before with his own agenda. So I don't think he's looking to lean toward anybody else and what they believe, because I
Well,
think of anybody, he really wants to bring people together.
Well, I always say, you look that mess up. So people need to look things up on their own and not just take the word of these talking heads, these opinion heads
Yes.
on the news media. And you want to also look at it from both sides. Like, you don't want to. You all of us are in echo chambers. The algorithm knows
Yes.
what you like. The algorithm knows your political leanings, and it feeds you that over and over again, and you tend to
Yeah.
never hear the other side. So
Exactly.
you have to actively search up, what what are they saying about this on the other side? You know,
Well,
and then
and also,
you
go
put
ahead.
that
I'm sorry.
together. You're not going to get the truth from one side. The only way you're going to get the truth is by putting together what they're saying on both sides. And when the same thing lines up on both sides, and there is where your truth is.
True discernment comes from being able to balance in between, you know, the two main arguments. So if you don't hear but one argument, like you tend to believe only just that thing that you've been hearing because that's all of the evidence that you have. But if you actually take the time to go outside of your algorithm that the system has set up for you, or the things that you know YouTube, Google, or whoever thinks that you want to hear, because they're focusing on a target audience. They're trying to please you with what what they think you want to hear. But at the same time, you have to make an effort to be able to listen to some of these other things. Because was Joy Reid, like, I can't, like, she gets on my nerves, but I listened to her. I listened to what's his name, the black dude from Houston. I can't think of his name right now, but
Charlemagne the God.
no, yeah, I don't really pay much attention to him. He's definitely, a bunch of them are bought and sold. I mean, bought and like they'll say whatever they're told to say. But I think that there's like I said, Joy Reid, the black guy. He's from Houston, or like I'll think of it in a minute. But he does a lot of political stuff, and he's somebody I listen to. But I think that he's really not out. I mean, he's not really. He knows a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I think that he's agenda based. He wants, he's a Democrat to the core, but I still want to hear what he has to say, even though I think that he's misled in a lot of ways. But just like I like going, I want to hear from directly from the mouth of our senators. So I listened to Forbes.com, which pretty much took the place of C-SPAN. You know what I'm saying? This is pretty much the same thing. So you can actually hear some of these arguments right there in the in the chamber, and you don't have to question what was said, what the arguments were about back and forth, this, that, and the other, through these different committees, or just on the floor of the House where they're disputing, different things that's really going on with these different bills, or uh, potentially impeaching somebody. Like, a lot of this stuff really helps you get through, or at least have a better understanding, because you can see right through a bunch of it if you really listen. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing. And you know you got to give some time to it, because I mean, I know I get talked about for sending long videos or whatever. Hey, look, I don't go and chop nothing up. I give it to you raw. You know what I'm saying? You can see and hear what you can, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Let me play some of this right here. Check it out. It says the classmate of Thomas Crooks reveals that he was bullied every day and described him as being an outcast.
With this suspected shooter, I want you to listen to a little bit of our conversation there.
He was bullied almost every day.
In what way? Can you explain?
I mean, he would sit alone at lunch. I mean, he was just an outcast, and you know how kids are nowadays. So they're going to see someone like that, and they're going to target him because they think it's funny or whatever. So it's the best way I can describe it.
Large media presence here. You've had members of the community come and approach us, including one person who said he actually went to high school with this suspected shooter. I want you to listen to a little bit of our conversation there.
So it says a classmate of Thomas Crooks, who has been identified as the shooter that shot Donald Trump during the Pennsylvania rally, was interviewed regarding his classmate's behavior and what could have led to his choice of violence. The classmate of Crooks described him as an outcast and claims that he was bullied often. Although the classmate is unclear whether or not this led to his recent decision, he does feel sad about the reality of what has occurred. And it's like, those people, those kids who were bullying him at school, you know, you have to take some responsibility too. You know what I mean? Like, you go out of your way to bully someone or whatever, and they when they crash out, when they do something over the top, and then you play the victim. You know what I mean? You wasn't the victim when you was bullying that kid. I'm not condoning this guy's behavior or making an excuse for his behavior. What I'm saying
No.
is that it's not okay to bully folks. And
Well, no, I mean, there's always cause and effect. I mean, that's the whole thing about life that people need to realize is that a lot of the things that we've done in the past is why we deal with what we're doing currently. You know what I'm saying? It's because of this, you got this. You know what I'm saying? So this kid, because of, being tormented as a child growing up at school and maybe even at home. We don't even know, we hadn't heard anything about his home life. But at the same time, like, if he's going through these different issues and obviously doesn't have the proper support at home because, his parents would have told him how to deal with certain things, or, maybe it wouldn't bother him so much because he would have had more support at home. But either way, yes, those kids, I mean, you can't directly blame them, but indirectly, they had a lot to do with what happened.
Yeah,
Day
because
before.
somebody gets bullied and they commit suicide. It happens all the time. These teenagers killing themselves as a result of being bullied over and over again. Some of them may decide not to just kill themselves. They might just crash out. They know they're gonna die. It's like, what do they do? They say like suicide by cop. The ones who like they don't want to kill themselves. They know the cops is gonna kill them, so they pull a weapon or whatever and shoot at the police or whatever. They know the police are going to kill them. So it's like, it's another way of committing suicide. You crash out.
Yeah.
Because this kid had to know he wasn't going to make it out of that situation. You know what I mean? Alive.
Nah, he knew something was going to happen to him, and he wasn't. And that's the thing; he wasn't concerned about it, and especially as wide open as he was. I mean, from some of the different angles I saw of this, the video, like he wasn't. He wasn't all. He obviously couldn't be all the way there. Like, it just didn't make sense. And I mean, there's a lot of other questions I have because it just seemed like, Secret Service didn't do as good a job as they should have.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to look at on the people who's on his inside. Who allowed these places to be wide open enough for him to get there and set up like that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
somebody failed. Somebody failed.
A few people probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How we go forward from here? Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support or if he communicated with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do. Yeah,
man. They probably said, for God's sake, Biden, please stick to the teleprompter, bro. don't go off your head, bro. Please, for God's sake, just stick to the teleprompter. Just read the teleprompter, bro. And they probably, after that debate, they're probably not gonna let them do any speaking without teleprompters or any of those impromptu interviews and stuff. If I was the advisor, I'd be like, bro, don't do no interviews, don't do nothing. Like whenever you speak,
Well,
it's
no,
got to be
I mean, but
prepared.
they've been doing that already. Like, how many State of the Unions has he actually done since he's been in president? Like, how you know what I'm saying? Anything like really anything over 5 minutes, they in trouble.
Well, they were saying he did a good job on the State of the Union that he did, but again, that was definitely all written, you know.
Well, I mean, this one, what State of the Union?
Yeah, the last State of the Union he did. That, you know, they was saying that he did a good job with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you say so. But that's the thing. That's what they've been telling us for the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like that he's totally capable. And I mean, it's almost like, you know, one of those cases where it's like, look, you didn't really see what you think you saw. You know, like your eyes your ears and your eyes are tricking you. You tripping.
Yeah. Let me play this. It says suspicious van towed related to there's no words. Hold on. It would be a white van. It says, is it going to give the caption? It says, police tore away a suspicious vehicle in middle of the night, now considered evidence in an attempted assassination of former President Trump. The van parked in the neighborhood close to the rally was searched by K-9 units. Suspicious van towed as evidence in Trump shooting. So maybe was his vehicle, his driver vehicle. It looked like one of those shady white vans, you know, the ones they tell you to stay away from, kidnap kids and stuff.
Yeah.
One comments, it says, imagine voting blue after this year. This Democrat is voting Trump. Another one, it says, 30 years from now, there will still be no real answers to what happened. When the government is involved in the crime, real details never come out. History proves that. Well, you're assuming that the government's involved in it. Another comment that says, imagine the FBI leading the investigation after trying to frame and imprison Trump. Another comment, it says, what's suspicious is a guy on a roof with a rifle and nobody does anything until he fires his gun. Another comment, when Trump posted Obama's address online and a shooter with a van full of weapons showed up, the Secret Service caught him before he could even get within 500 feet. Yet this guy got on a roof with his weapon 100 feet away. No one thinks this is fishy. Other comments.
A lot of people thought it was a problem, and they were screaming and saying, you know, hey, he's got a gun. He's got, like, you can hear about all that kind of stuff going on, but I guess it wasn't close enough, or like I said, I still believe that there's some neglect somewhere. They put somebody in his somebody inside of his Secret Service was, you know, willfully neglectful, or something's just not right with that.
One more comment. It says, suspicious van. What's suspicious is a 20-year-old untrained reject getting the drop on the U.S. Secret Service.
For real. Like, that they said a mouthful right there.
Well, you know, it's not the first time. These kinds of things has happened in the past.
Well, yeah, but why and how? Like, there's something much deeper to it than just, you know, this guy randomly coming there and setting up the way he did, and it's just no big deal. Like, it's, oh well, like it was a deeper plot to it, and like I said, I'm trying not to, you know, go too, you know, be too assumptive about what happened, but it's reading into being something way bigger than what, you know, we know yet.
Let's play this. It says Thomas Matthew Crooks had explosive devices in his car that he drove to the Trump rally, according to Wall Street Journal.
hope he's turning this way. Be careful, guys.
So it says he had explosive devices in his car. Maybe it was that van that we just showed in the last clip.
Yeah, well,
Is it?
it was at one point there was only one person that was saying to me that said to me that they didn't believe what happened, but then it just started building up more and more people saying, "Oh no, that wasn't real." All this, that, and the other. I had to look at it some more, and I'm like, well, damn. I don't know what you know. What I'm saying. I think some people didn't want to. I'm not saying any names, but I'm some people just didn't want to see it as being that. But of course, I understand because of our politics, the way things are happen and is done, that you have to question certain things to some extent. But like, where did the blood come from? You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden he just like, and then there's somebody dead, two people dead after this. Like that was all fake.
Yeah, it couldn't be. It can't be. It's just that, in our day and age with AI and the way you can manipulate videos or whatever, just seeing a video is not good enough to
Yeah, and I mean,
leave.
and I had to say that. Okay, I have to appreciate the fact that they're not just accepting because that's what I beg people to. Everything you see and hear, you need to examine it and kind of do your own investigation. So can't be upset with somebody saying, "Hey, I don't know about that." This is because you're at least exhibiting an effort to you think for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Let me read this. It says Thomas Matthew Crooks had explosive devices in his car that he drove to the Trump rally, according to the Wall Street Journal. Police say they were tipped off of suspicious packages near the suspect. Police received multiple reports of suspicious packages around near where the shooter was, authorities said, prompting them to dispatch bomb technicians, the Wall Street Journal reported. Investigators were still working to make sure the scene was clear well into the night. They also searched Cook's home and spoke with his family. The FBI still says there is no clear motive. All of that stuff is after the fact. It's like, what did y'all do beforehand, bro? Comment, it says another weird. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say. I mean, because to me, I think that they should have attempted to try to keep him alive.
Well, they succeeded in that. I mean, he didn't die, so.
Who didn't die? No, I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the shooter. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, in that situation, you got to make a move right away. I mean, he's got a weapon, he's firing it. I don't know how you're going to neutralize him without, taking him down in that situation. He's a sniper. Like, you can, I don't know.
He really is not.
Any more time you give him is opportunity to, let off more shots, hurt more people. Another comment, it says
I'm just saying he's all right, if he calls himself a sniper, I'm just gonna say he's just not he's a really not good one.
Yeah.
Like a horrible shot. I mean, thank God that because I mean, it was God. I mean, it was,
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's pretty damn close. Some of the videos, it looks like Trump moved his head right at the moment that the bullet was coming, and maybe if he hadn't moved his head, maybe it would have hit.
Yeah,
it only take like an inch, half an inch in another direction, and no more Trump.
Yeah. I hate hearing some of the stuff that some people say as far as oh, he really gonna think that he's black now. Have you seen some of the memes people putting up, the 50 Cent meme?
Yeah, the
like
50 Cent meme.
His head on.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
Like
It's
really, bro.
that's pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie.
No,
It's pretty
but
cool.
I ain't gonna lie. Some of it was really funny because he's like got his ears skipped. Now he acting like he done got shot 9 times. Like
Hmm.
but
But again, back to the head angle. He was holding his head in a weird little angle at the moment. He was trying to read they had a chart up about the immigrants and all that. And so he was turning
yeah.
his head to read. And that may have been what saved his life. You know what I mean? It may not have necessarily been that the guy was such a bad
I
shot.
would say so because I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the way it's looking.
yeah.
It's looking like the way he turned his head, which was a weird little angle, is what saved his life. The bullet hit his ear instead of,
Well, and to me, it's total evil. Anybody who's trying to shoot him down, and I'm saying shoot down loosely because I mean not just literally, like through all these cases, through like the impeachments, all these different things that they like trying to put up against him, and he keeps prevailing through it. It's like
yeah,
at
it's
some
crazy.
point you need to realize like there's a higher force with him. Like unless you're the devil himself or his one of the main minions, like you might want to just like because you got to think about it. Everybody that wants that's upset with him is the elites, like people who are like richer than him, like people across the world who is like his agenda is if he becomes president, this stops all of the stuff that they've been planning for human beings across the world. And like for him to keep prevailing through these different things, like you would think that at some point, all right, you know what, this just ain't gonna happen or what. But no, this is like the people who really trying to, control everything about our lives is upset with him, and it almost looks like they'll do anything they can to keep him from becoming president because they know that this is gonna ruin everything they tried to do.
Let me read a couple comments. It says another weird edit. Someone walks across the frame the moment he is neutralized. Seeing a lot of this. Another one, it says his motives are from the media's misinformation and propaganda programming. Another one, it says this is the media's fault and the Democrats for lying about Trump and comparing him to Hitler.
That's something that I want to bring up too because I was listening to Roland Martin was the
Timmy.
name I was thinking about earlier.
Roland
Well,
Martin.
I
Okay.
saw a debate. I saw a debate between Roland Martin and Chink, the dude from TYT,
Yeah.
and I was like, I had to give Chink an applaud because he was like the Democrats are way more closer to authoritarian. I can't say it right no more.
Authoritative.
Yeah, well, authoritarianism
Hmm.
than Republicans, and that's something I've been seeing before. Like fascists, like Democrats are closer to being fascist than Republicans, and they keep saying like they say, "Oh, he's a fascist," and then you start hearing everybody, that have no idea what really fascism is, start talking about, "Oh, he's a fascist," and just because they repeating shit that they didn't heard before, but like really don't that haven't looked at the definition of the word and can't even put it together because like that's the problem with most people. They're just picking up on like they want to be able to have these conversations with people, but they're just repeating something that they heard from somewhere else instead of it actually being having original thought and are actually being able to really look at okay the definition for something and line it up with who really fits that mold. Like that's a problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't know,
Let, let,
man. It's Go ahead.
Let me play some Timmy. I hope I can find the right little spot because the last little comment I read was about how the person said it feels like it's the media's fault, and that's kind of what Timmy was saying here, and his first take right after it happened. Let me play some of this.
The smears, the constant.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm 99.9% sure that Donald Trump wins this walking away. It won't even be close. There will be people that register to vote that have never voted before who are going to come out and vote for Trump. There will be, I would even go so far as to say, there will be people who will vote more than once, who will risk going to jail for this. And another thing, those online social media cowards who are mocking, making fun, and I saw a couple of it because I announced it on my Twitter, on my X account. Know this, Johnson, know this. You really don't want to poke the bear. You are poking the wrong bear, dum-dum.
Yeah.
Once again, anybody tuning in, my name is Tim Black. I'm a recovering progressive. Particularly behind what I believe. I believe that this took place, this assassination attempt, is because it's due to, a large amount of it is due to, I'm almost 100% certain, to the rhetoric, the lies, the corruption, the smears, the constant demonization of Donald Trump for the last 7 years. I'm surprised it took this long. There you go. That's what I want to say. I'm surprised it took this long. I do not co-sign or do not support violence against a sitting president or a former president. But let's just unpack it a bit. Let's unpack it. Let's take a look at this. We've had presidents who have bombed other countries into oblivion on a lie, taking us to war and killed 1 million people unnecessarily, just for money and his own ego and to stay in office. And no one attempted anything. But there are people that are so damaged in the brain, so brainwashed, that they think Donald Trump is the worst president that ever walked the earth because of words he said on Twitter or X, because most of his policies line up with Bush's policies. Most of his policies line up with Clinton's policies. Most of his policies are pretty much the standard Republican policies. But for some reason, and the reason is we got a corporate media that wants profits. They want profits over anything else, and they sensationalize trivial nonsense. How you feeling, Taraji P. Henson? How you feeling over there? All the people boosting this Project 2025, when you know that damn Project 2025 is an organization that is not tied to Donald Trump's campaign. It's an organization that made a document for any president to take up and use, including Biden. But what do you think now? What do you think now? This is what it comes to. This is what it does. All that money you made, MSNBC, all the raking in of profits, CNN. I just put out a video about it. We just talked about it yesterday on the show. All the money that they've been making off Donald Trump. Gaslighting morons at home. Some of it warranted, a whole lot of it not. A lot of it taken out of context, a lot of it exploited, a lot of it camouflaged, modified, edited, truncated, ginned up, spun around, twisted, super seasoned, perpetuated, grown, sown. What I'm trying to tell you guys, and what took place today, this is bad. This is the worst thing that could happen. And to that person, I don't know who did this. I have no idea, but I'm gonna be checking my phone and see if we get an identification on who did this.
This was like right after.
But I can tell you this.
It happened.
I'm tell you one thing, what I'm hoping is I'm hoping that this was just a white guy pissed off. Oh, I'm hoping this was just a white guy pissed off. See, we got dummies online that don't understand. Donald Trump has people that support him. And you don't want to mess with these people. You don't want to mess with these people. We got a certain segment of society who are beyond support, not just supporters. You know, I'm talking about zany lunatics. There's a segment of the Trump body of supporters who are beyond the pale, who are not wrapped too tight, frankly. They've been waiting for this day. And now first blood, literally, first blood has been spilled. Do you understand? You children, you child, you adolescent, you moron who are on social media, whoever that person is, whoever these people are who are online. Now, this will be a good time for them to start yanking the trolls. This will be a good time for them to start yanking the bots. You understand what I'm saying? Elon Musk needs to get his campaign, get his application under control. That's what he needs to do. Once again, if you just tuned in, Donald Trump there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. He was shot. It appears to be a graze on his right ear. He is okay. But there is one attendance, one audience member who was killed today at that rally. And the shooter, the suspected shooter, was also killed. We don't know the name or the identity of the gunman, but I'm hoping it was just a white guy. I'm hoping it was not a person other than a white guy off his medication like typically. I'm hoping that. I hope that. Because you people that are thinking this is a joke, you people that think, oh, I wish you would have got, well, they should have did this, they should have did that. Okay, first of all, you're a moron. Second of all, we don't wish death on anybody. I never wish death on folks, especially for political differences. Once again, I'm not a Trump supporter, but neither am I a Biden supporter like some of you morons. Okay? This sets up a horrible situation of retaliation and avenge. Do you understand that people can be hurt because of this? Someone already texted me and said, oh my God, this might be open season. An open season. I remember the last time I saw an assassination attempt in America, it was back in the 80s. I was a kid. I was barely in elementary school. I think I was just like in the 3rd grade or something when Ronald Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr. Anybody old enough? Anybody old as hell like me up here that remembers that? I didn't know much about it. I just remember coming home and on the news was just saying that everybody was watching.
Yeah. An
assassination attempt on the president. Folks, this is serious business. Once again, I want to repeat this so anybody didn't hear me, man. Whoever did this, you just gave Donald Trump a gift. I know you don't know that from the grave because you are now deceased, if that was the correct person that they grabbed up, because they did. Secret Service, there are reports that whoever did the shooting, someone was apprehended and dealt with. Someone was taken out. Whoever that person is. Hopefully that was the shooter. But unfortunately, and my condolences to the family of whoever was attending this rally, who was also hurt here today in Butler, Pennsylvania, who is now deceased in Butler, Pennsylvania, for attending a rally in broad daylight where they go through metal detectors. So I don't understand what happened. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of speculation about how this could take place when you have to go through metal detectors to get into this rally, presumably. I can see the wheels and the brains turning already, guys. This I feel, I'm just going to say guarantees, man. Let me not even go 99.9. Let me just go ahead and step into the ring and say, I'm 100% sure that Donald Trump wins the re-election. I believe that Donald Trump wins the election. This did it. It was already. I was already on the record saying I think Donald Trump's going to win. Now I'm positive he's going to win. You understand? Because there's nothing more influential than an actual victim that we can all see. This is not made up. This is not, oh, they're coming to get me and they just, they don't like me and they do this, they do that. You cannot deny this. It's an attempt. That was blood coming out, was plasma, blood coming out of his ear. no matter what he said, no matter whatever he said at the podium. Nothing, absolutely nothing justifies this. And all they did was secure the loss of Biden. Biden will definitely lose. So now I want to see all those Democrats come out. You know, all those Democrats, all those drooling at the mouth, frothing upon the mouth Democrats who went and called Donald Trump president, who thought they were doing something. Meanwhile, they called Bush president. He killed 1 million people and took us to illegal wars. But they wouldn't call Trump president. To this day, won't call him president. All because they want to get their guy Biden in, because they like that level of corruption. Not that Trump isn't corrupt. It's hard to be a politician and not be corrupt, particularly at that level. But they pretend like Biden is a saint, and this perpetual narrative that Donald Trump is the devil, that he is the Antichrist, the comparisons of him to Hitler. You did this. Own it. I want you all to own it. I want the corporate media to own what they did. Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid. I want you to own what you did. The bats at The View. Own what you did. You did this. Maxine Waters. Own it. Own what you did. Take a victory lap. You did this. You just sank your guy. Jim Clyburn, I know you said you were riding with Biden. You ain't going to be riding far. You'll be riding back to Delaware because that's where he's going. Visit him on the weekends. You can all sit down and have fried fish and cornbread and coleslaw because he's going to have a lot of time on his hands, which is what he needs. That's right. You did this. Congratulations. Congratulations, corporate media, cooking the books, taking people out of context, demonizing them, all to try to get Americans to cut on the television and watch this stuff because most Americans don't want to watch it. So they had to gin it up. They had to put some spice on it. They had to put some bam on it. They had to put some boost on it. Hit you with the hits, the hot stuff. Had to put some Tabasco on it. Had to put some, I don't know, some mambo sauce on it. I don't know what you got. They were just ginning this up and doing everything they could to make this rivalry get some eyeballs. People don't understand the level of fabrication, the amount of lying and deceit, and the amount of corruption in the media game. Well, they did this. You did this, The View. You did it. Congratulations. Yeah, I want them to all own what they did. I want them to, every late night show talk host who for the last 7 years has been making nothing but horrible Trump jokes, corny, lame, pathetic, sold out, unentertaining, stupid, banal, cookie cutter, boring, cowardly Trump jokes for 7-8 years. There you go. Guess what you get? You get to be not only guilty with blood on your hands, but he's alive, but you also get him as your president again. There you go. That's what you deserve. That is what they deserve, Joe Johnson. They deserve this. They earned this butt kicking. They deserve Trump to come back because they did this. They did. They could have let him go on with his life. They didn't have to try to bring bull BS charges. Did any business person, some of these charges, no other human being, no other American citizen has been tried for some of these charges that these morons keep saying, he get what he deserved. You dumbass, there's no other American ever convicted of the BS that they got Trump, they're trying to get Trump on. They don't even take people to court for this nonsense. And you're so gullible and busy watching CNN, MSNBC, and CBS, and ABC that you just drank all the Kool-Aid and then came back asking for thirds and fourths. So this is what you get. You get Donald Trump as your next president because he's going to milk this. And why shouldn't he milk it? You literally shot him in the head. You shot another inch or two, and he's got to hear. Cancel Christmas. Another inch or two. It's hasta la vista, baby. You know what? I hope that whoever did this, once again, I hope, man. Let me check my phone. I want to know if they got any information on.
Yeah, man. The part that really gets me about what he's saying is how, the media is complicit in this shit. And I think that there's probably going to be intensive study of this phenomenon, related to the media and the rhetoric and the political rhetoric and the back and forth, and the consequences of it, and how it gets people emotionally charged and gets them going out there and doing horrible stuff. I mean, and it's coming from both sides. It comes from both sides. There's no innocent parties in this. But it needs to be reined in. It's something that needs to be focused on, and we need to be able to have media pundits. I mean, first off, these damn opinion talking pieces that is looks like news. It appears to be news, but it's just somebody talking out the side of their neck. You know what I mean? This format of this 24-hour news cycle deal, well, they only have 5 minutes worth of information, and then they talk for 8 hours on that. All speculation, and a lot of just incendiary rhetoric. This is the problem, and this is what leads to the conclusions that we have. Them trying to produce content from nothing. And if it bleeds, it leads. Just saying stuff that's emotionally charged that gets people going, and you getting clicks and you're just making money. The advertisers are happy, everyone's happy, but meanwhile it's a powder keg out here, and it's just a spark happens and it's gonna all blow the shit. We're gonna see the results of this terrible media landscape in no time. At some point, we're gonna see the results of this. Years of
And it took how many years for people to start realizing the fake news narrative that Trump was saying years back? It's a lot of people that's really starting to catch on now and actually can see it. But he was a fool. He was crazy when he was saying those things back in the day. No, I'm not taking your question. You're fake news. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot of stuff people should need to take back that, and not to be I think they just need to realize, okay, maybe they went too far and didn't, they wasn't looking at it fully, because it's a lot of examples like proof that what he been saying is true. And the attempt on his life, because I mean they've been attempting on his life with all these charges, but shit, they actually trying to physically take him out now. And I'm saying they because I don't know who it is, but it's bigger than that 20-year-old that just decided to go to the Trump rally and shoot Trump.
Well, that's why I'm focusing on the rhetoric. That's what we have to focus on, because it's going to be countless numbers of these guys like that guy who can easily be manipulated. And if you having people talking like they talk, the world's going to come to an end if Trump is elected. It's the end of democracy if Trump is elected. And on the other side, Trump is our savior. The country is gonna be destroyed if Trump is not elected. This kind of talk is what leads to people who aren't smart enough to realize that it's an election, and they're just trying to get votes. And these people really think it's the most important election of their lifetime. You know what I mean? It's the most important thing that's going on. The world's gonna come to an end.
It is a very important time in our life, in our time. Like the voting I think very important for us to come to get out and vote and
But
get
my
the
point
right
is,
people.
they say that every election. Every election is the most important election of your lifetime, and you better vote like your life depends on it, because it does. They say this every time.
You better
So
fight like hell.
they say it every time.
They do.
So
I totally agree. And and like I said, I mean, for them, because I mean, yes, I think they believe it because like the politicians, it's very important to them because it's gonna ruin everything that been trying to do. And every cycle is very important to them. And then by them losing the house, not being the leader, being the leader of the house anymore, and potentially gonna get a conservative president, executive, and then the judiciary is majority. Like, yeah, they've been fighting. They better fight like hell. But I think just because it's not genuine, it's not something that really benefits the people. The majority, because most people who are just following it are true followers. They're not. They don't really know what's going on to like fully. Like they've been trained. Like they've been. The media has led them to believe what they believe instead of actually
it's
seeing some of
it's programming. It's
the
programming. So
programming. Hey, wait a minute, hold on a minute.
let me read this. It says, after Trump shooting, America reverts to blaming the other side, by Michael Schaefer, senior editor and columnist. Political. It says, you might imagine that a possible assassination of a leading presidential candidate would be a scared straight moment for the nation. Instead, it immediately went right back to reflexive criticism of the media, vitriol for the other side, and conspiracy theories, writes Michael Schaefer in his latest column. We don't yet know what the shooter's motivations were, but even by just looking at the reactions to his act, what's striking to me is the weirdly familiar 21st century American combination of shock and non-shock that permeates all of them. Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff going down my timeline where people are just straight up making jokes, and it's like, man, I'm like, these people don't take anything serious. Like, people died. Like, it's not a joke. They tried to assassinate a
Well, I mean, the
presidential.
thing is, what's really bad is some of the politicians that was saying, man, he only had one job and he couldn't even like. How much gas on that? It's a quarter.
All right, let me
Put some gas in it on the way in. How?
let me read some more comments right here. It says,
Okay. Got to put the diameter meter reading on there and the card
it says,
number back 1, 2, 3.
it says, remember Trump joked about the vicious attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. He was almost killed. Trump joked, I wonder how he's doing. Remember, he incites violence by his reckless rhetoric. Another comment, it says, I mean, when the guy who calls for political violence has political violence happen to him, can we really be shocked or surprised? Of course, all political violence in our democratic republic is bad. That goes without saying, but I will say it so as to not confuse anyone. Another comment, it says, people act like being shot will erase everything he's done. That's another part of this that really kind of bothers me, because it's really stupid. Because, even if they was to take Trump out, I mean, it would make him a martyr. They would have statues of him everywhere. But overall, it really wouldn't change the direction of things. Like, it's not going to make an impact. Like, as far as like Trump, this is the same thing I've been saying. Like, people are like, Trump is the new Jesus or something. Like, he's going to save the country.
Don't go that far.
People are saying that. They are saying that. And
I
it's
haven't
like,
heard that one time, and I'm all over the damn conservative
what
landscape.
No, well, they're saying that he's our savior. They talk about him like he's Jesus, is what I'm saying. Okay. So, but what I'm saying is you have a political party, you have an agenda, you have policies, and Trump is just the face of that now. It's so crazy to me how people can just put so much into this guy. Like he can only do another 4 years. So what's going to happen to the United States after that? You know what I'm saying? Like
But is it
that.
not? Is it not crazy to you that there's an incompetent president in office right now? That people are saying, "Oh, I don't care if he shits himself, and if he's in a casket, I'm gonna vote for him anyway." You don't think that's insane?
I do think that's insane. This is not the point. The point is that the president can only be in the office for so long. You have
Yes.
all of these people who stay in power for long periods of time who do have impact over time. You know, the president doesn't. They only have a certain amount of time in there. You know what I mean?
Well,
What's
that's
going to
true,
happen after
but at
Trump
the
gets
same
out of
time,
office is what I'm
if
saying.
you-
Like
if
is it you know, is the stuff that Trump does while he's in office are going to last the rest of like our lifetimes or whatever? Like this is crazy thinking,
well,
you
well,
know?
I hear what you're saying, but we've had many terms of presidents that was in office with the same agenda, and Trump came with something that's different to try to change things up and get things back to where America itself can grow instead of people bleeding America for funds worldwide and everyone else benefits except for the American people.
And we could say that that's true, but what happens after the 4 years that Trump does is over? What happens at that point?
Well, when people start to see, because I think that this is a turning point where a lot of people will have to realize that the agenda that the conservative branch, the conservative party, is putting out there is going to be the best thing for America. And I think a lot of people are paying enough attention now to be able to see the difference. They see how Biden has come in screwed up with trying to push extreme policies, things that just cannot happen overnight, and then things that is just simple and common sense things that can put us back on track. And it's really easy, but the people need to see the example. One of the reasons that I felt like, because if Trump would have stayed in office and been in office this term, maybe they would have saw it. But at the same time, to be able to see how badly the Democrats are screwing things up, and I say the Democrats because it's not just Joe Biden. This is a whole concerted effort of them following the agenda, and nobody, pulling anybody else's coat tag on in their party to say, "Hey, this is going too far." No, we're gonna go gung ho, and we're gonna try to get everything we can get done. Because guess what? There. If anybody finds out what we're doing, we're done. Like they're actually trying to steal from, like, they're stealing from America, like, period. And some people just can't really see it from that perspective, but it's gonna, like, people gonna really be able to see a lot clearer once Trump gets back in office. And I think people want to see, all right, look, I done heard all this stuff about what you're gonna do, like, they're gonna, like, vote for him to see. Just, all right, you know what, let's go with the ideology that I've been doing the same thing and getting, not getting the results that I'm supposed to get. Like, that's where we at in this work, in this country,
The
is the
only
fact
way
that,
we're going to get any kind of change is if we can get the corruption out of the political system from
and
both
that's getting the
sides. The
Democrats, and that's getting the Democrats off of their agenda, like, because this is becoming a worldwide
it's
thing. Like,
it's
this is
it's
something,
it's
like, people
not
are not
just the
looking.
Democrats. It's two birds. It's two wings, one bird.
But
It's
no,
the
there's two
Citizens
different
United.
agendas though.
It
No, it's
it's
two
it
different agendas. It's two totally different agendas. And
it's none of it's gonna matter as long as the corporations
it
can
does
dictate on
matter. It does
what
matter.
legislation gets
If you don't
passed.
see that as globalism over nationalism, then you've lost. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. If
No,
you
I don't
don't
see
see
it.
that,
I see
exactly,
that if you need to
exactly.
get the lobbyists up out of there, you need to
Well,
make the elections not
that's just
cost a
one. That's
billion
just one
dollars.
side, but
You,
that's
you
not
you
going to
need to
happen
not.
over one side. That's not
It
going to
doesn't
happen over
matter
one
who gets
cycle.
in there as long as that stuff stays the same. You
Well, it's
got
not going to
citizens who.
change with the Democrats because they're the ones that lean on
It's
them the
not going to
most.
change with the Republicans either. This is
Yes, it
what I'm
will.
saying.
It will change. We have a better chance at making a change if the Republicans are in office. Like it's going to be a bigger and better change with the Republicans. At this point, that's where we are. Because you can blindly and generally speak, okay, yeah, there's issues on both parties. Nobody's arguing that. But at the same time, we're talking about the push, like certain things that the focus of the
You,
parties
you
are
will
not
never
the
get to the
same.
point. You'll never get to the point where you can fix the electoral politics when you blaming one side or the other. When you're saying it's one side or the other, you're never gonna get to the root
Yes,
cause of the
no,
situation
no. We
ever.
have to. And if you're blind to the fact that there's one party that's a real problem to our country that we suppose a lot of say that we love, like if we're giving up all of our powers to other countries, like and you don't see that as a problem, you're
It-
part
it's
of the
it's
problem.
it's good cop, bad cop, and each time it's
No,
just
no,
getting
it's
people to
not
go
that. At this,
vote
no,
and making
no,
people
no, no,
think
no,
that
no.
they're going to make a difference with this particular election. And each election is the most important election in your lifetime, and this is finally going to be the one that's going to make the difference.
I feel sorry
Finally,
that
going to
when
make a
people don't see
change.
it. I feel sorry that when people don't see it, but there's a certain agenda, like there's certain things like simple things that where people are trying to make you believe that a woman has there's many ways to describe a woman. Like that's
This is
insanity, bruh.
that's cultural issues. What people
No,
really care
no,
about
no.
is economics.
Okay.
People are worried about living
No,
their
but
check to check,
that cultural
the
thing.
how much they're
Ty-
paying at the grocery store, how much their gas is cost, how much they're getting paid at their job.
Well, how
This is
okay?
what they're
Well,
concerned with. They're not
let's go
concerned with
there.
this
Let's go
cultural
there
bullshit
because
that just
somebody who believes that we can do by not fracking or us having our own being energy independent is what's gonna us going totally electric, that is gonna be supported by the same fracking, or somebody's oil has to support the electricity, and people not realizing that, okay, we're working against ourselves by trying to do that. It's more efficient the way that we are already doing it, and that's costing us way more money because somebody wants to make all of the US dollars go into the investments that they made, instead of a system that's already working well, and it's like it's gonna get hot no matter what. Like the world is changing, period. So trying to use that as an excuse and saying that we gotta have new energy, a new way of doing energy, like yeah, we could maybe have EPA and OSHA come up with different things, but changing everything is insane, and that's costing. Like our energy is probably the biggest thing that what everything why everything costs more, because if diesel costs more, transporting everything to grocery stores costs more, and that's where the biggest problem with where everybody's dollars are. So when you believe that if we don't change everything right now, we're gonna die, that's like insane, because that doesn't follow real science. This is a new science that they want people to believe.
the reason why the everything is costs so much is because of these corporations are price gouging. They're
No, it's
taking
not.
advantage of the
It's not just
situation
price gouging. No, it's
after
because
the
everything costs
pandemic.
more. Everything costs
That's
more because of the energy, like what you
why are
have to
they
pay to.
making record profits then? If everything costs more, then they shouldn't be making more money. If it costs them more to move the stuff and they got to raise the prices to offset their costs, then that shouldn't equal them having record profits,
Well, no, because
ridiculous
they're
profits, quarter after quarter.
because they're also giving you less product. That's where the profits is coming in, is because everything costs more. But you know, a 5 pound bag of sugar is now 4 pounds.
Yeah. The issue still comes back to the same thing. It comes back to these corporations and their greed, profit over people, and how much they can manipulate Congress to pass laws that are beneficial to them, deregulation, allowing them to do whatever the hell they want to. They don't get taxed. The rest of us is paying taxes out the wazoo. People complain about taxes, and I get it. But then you've got the corporations who are not paying no taxes. Not only are they not paying taxes, they get subsidized, and that money comes out of our pocket. Like, that's really insane. And meanwhile, they're making billions of profit. This is the bottom line of the problem. The politics is never going to be working towards the people if it's working for the corporations. The corporations don't care if it's the Democrats or the Republicans who win. Whoever that wins is whatever for them. They're gonna line the pockets of whoever wins, and they're gonna get what they want out of it, regardless. And the American people never get what they need.
Listen, one of the things that I think that in that equation that people are missing is supply and demand. So if the monopolies, the big companies are the only ones that's able to exist, and you know they're able to control pricing, and there's no real competition, like that's where a lot of the problem is. And then when little guys like myself want to have a business and I can't because you know they've constructed a way, a science to be able to, or the fuel, you know, they sold up a lot of our reserves that, you know, to China. And I don't know what kind of profit is made, but do we get any to see any of that? No, because I mean it doesn't work out for it to benefit us directly. But when
I
there's
agree
more
with you
when there's more jobs, when there's more farming, when there's actually more product that we can actually sell and make money off of ourselves, is when we can benefit more. When there's
I agree with you on the monopolies and the global conglomerates and these companies. They don't care about the people. That's the reason why they move the jobs overseas. They move production, manufacturing overseas.
But that's
and
still a part of that same equation, because when somebody makes a policy where you can't, you know, you have an endless supply of oil underneath your feet, but you got to go buy it from somewhere else because you're trying to meet a quota or sell off your rights to the EPA to another country, then you know that leaves the country, you know, like
they're
it doesn't make sense.
fracking. They fracked the most under Obama. They're fracking as much now as they was under Trump. That has not changed.
No, but they're not. But see, they just started fracking again this year, and it's not fully wide open where they can continue the fracking. And then they shut off the Keystone and all these different things that, you know, between Canada and America, United States. Like a lot of these key decisions that Biden has made has sent us into the turmoil that we're in. And a lot of people don't want to realize, you know, because they keep saying that we got the best economy, but for who? Like, there's a lot of people that's making a lot of money, but it's not the people who need it. And that's the part that needs to change.
It's the corporations that are making money.
Exactly,
and
but that's the whole thing.
That will not change
He's not trying to shut down corporations, but he is trying to.
Trump has the hugest tax break ever for these wealthy people and corporations, and a big part of the freaking deficit is as a result of that, because they're not collecting the taxes. These people are going without getting any taxes because of that tax break. So then that's directly reflects into the deficit.
I mean, the whole tax thing is an illusion to make people believe that their tax dollars really makes a difference. I don't think that they've ever collected enough tax. Well, it's been a long time since they collected enough taxes to make the budget. They keep raising the ceiling to be able to inject more money into the system in order to do whatever they're going to do.
One good thing Biden did do is put money in to the IRS. and funded the
Really?
IRS so that they could go after these wealthy tax cheats. And it has
But they're
already
not.
shown
But that's the
it
whole
has
problem.
they've
They're
already
not.
they've already
They're
got a
picking
bunch of
on.
money in
They're gonna go
as a
pick on
result of that.
you. They're gonna pick on you.
They've
They're gonna.
already this is documented, bro. You can look this up. Take your time
Say,
and
bro.
look this up. It's
So
documented.
all right, this 20% price hike that he percent tax hike that he's talking about will never happen. And they're saying like this is some kind of solution to getting the deficit down and all this that blah 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 blah. It's full of shit. It's never gonna happen because the same people that you're saying that pay him are not gonna they're not gonna pay it even if they was to do the policy. And then the United States really can't like force if they force their hand, they move to another country and don't pay no taxes, then what? But
These
say, bro.
corporations don't care about the United States at all. They're
Exactly.
global.
But the United States needs a lot of these corporations to be here because it does provide some form of employment where the little money that some people are making here and there. There's some people that's making some pretty decent money at
Screw
some of
those
these
companies.
corporations.
If they want to leave, let them go. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of companies that
I'm fine
aren't going to
with
be
that
able
too
to
because
go,
guess what?
and
That's gonna open.
they're still here.
I'm okay with that because guess what? That opens the door for the little guy. Like, okay, that's fine, but the 20% then gonna be on you and me, the whoever has the middle the middle class monies that's coming in. Those are the people that's gonna get hit again the hardest. And believe me, I know about that because I was making $250,000 a year. I'm 180 to 240,000 dollars. So I know the difference in when the taxes were good and when they were bad. So like, bro, I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen where the top 1%, the top 5% is gonna pay 20% tax. That's just some bullshit to tell you so that you get on board because you're like, yeah, they need to get hit hard. They need to get hard, but they're not gonna do it. That's another promise that they're making that will never fucking happen.
Yeah, I don't trust that they would either. They're in the pockets of these corporations. So let me read a couple comments under this post right here. The one I'm talking about after Trump shooting, America reverts to blaming the other side. A couple comments. It says he is a victim of the violent gun culture and hateful rhetoric he has stoked, enabled, and made money from. He's not a martyr. Another comment that says, yeah, while leading Democrats are wishing Trump's safety and prayers, leading Republicans blame Democrats. Another one, people can talk about facts. People can talk, but the facts are that he was a gun enthusiast, registered Republican. His former classmate says he was a loner and a staunchly conservative. Leftists don't love guns. They want them banned. LOL.
That's bullshit.
Let me read another comment. It
And
says,
if you want to know about facts, because there's plenty of Democrats that is not going to let anybody take their guns. A bunch. But
another comment.
one of the things I will say is that there's a bunch of Democrats that don't realize that they're really conservatives. Like they really
Well, there's
line
conservative.
up more.
There's conservative Democrats, and there's liberal Republicans. Let me read some comments. It says, this is a fight and shooting between MAGA. MAGA is shooting itself. Another comment, when you have a former president whose bread and butter is stoking division, then we are supposed to be surprised that what he has done has actually worked. One more, we'll move on. It says, it was a MAGA shooting a MAGA. MAGA did it to themselves. Same old story.
Why do people say shit like that?
Well, they're saying that because it's saying
Because
that he
he's
was a registered
because he's a Republican. But he
Yeah.
shot or tried, Trump. So like his belief in or being a true follower or somebody who believes in his message, he cannot be because he wouldn't try to get rid of him. Like some things need to, like people need to make some sense with it because there's people that's registered as Republicans for the whole sake of you know, trying to make numbers, but they'll still go vote a different way, or he probably not even a fucking voter. Like he don't even believe in nothing. He's 20 years old that's got picked on, and a lot of kids that age are really just following whatever their parents do.
Mm. Let me play this.
And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 years ago. And you know, that's a little bit of he's got a gun!
Stay under here.
It says, as former president spoke at his election rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday, someone can be heard screaming he's got a gun shortly before a suspected gunman fired shots. Trump was rushed off the stage after he was shot in an assassination attempt. Blood could be seen on his right ear as agents surrounded him and led him off the stage. Trump's final spokesperson said the alleged shooter is dead. One spectator died, while 2 are in serious condition, according to officials. So this angle is showing that there was people saying, you know, they could see that somebody had a gun or whatever. It's like, you know, how the hell did they see it before the freaking... I guess the Selective Service folks couldn't really do anything until he actually did something. Is that what... How... I wonder, what is the protocol with that?
No, I mean, like I said, there's some gaps going. Something's wrong with some of this stuff that is actually happened because he shouldn't have had a chance to get to that point. But I don't think that. No, if they would have seen the problem, I don't think everybody that's, you know, in the Secret Service is just allowing that to happen. But no, I don't think that they gotta wait till he actually do something, because the whole idea is to protect his life. You know what I'm saying? Like one all it takes is one shot to kill him. So the first shot, to him getting set up and being able to take one shot, is detrimental to his life. You know what I'm saying? So no, I would say no. That has nothing to do with it.
Let me read a couple of comments. It says, sad that someone convinced and brainwashed this 20-year-old to give up his life for the political madness by men craving to control the country. Sick. Another one, I'm so concerned as to how unconcerned everyone in this video is. So casual, just like, oh man, there's a gun shooting. So where's the funnel cake again, y'all? Another comment, it says, I don't get
People
it.
are screaming at the top of their lungs.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I'm
comment
sorry, but when I was saying there's people screaming at the top of their lungs, he's got a gun. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't call that nonchalant at all.
and that was just the people that was close to that camera.
Yeah. Let me read a couple more comments. It says, I don't get it.
Look, I gotta, you know, I'm at work, so I'm heading back to grab my people. So
All right, cool.
I'm gonna jump out of here.
All right.
All right,
Let me
man.
read. All right, be easy. Another comment,
You
it
too,
says,
man.
I don't. All right. It says, I don't get it. A guy with a gun surrounded by Second Amendment folks. Why are they freaking out? That's kind of a good comment. Yeah. Bull, that's right. They couldn't get guns into the thing, so that's why. Another comment says, it's shocking that the shooter was able to take his position in the first place, that the snipers did not see the shooter, that 5 bullets went off before the SS took the stage, and more before the shooter was shot. Seconds matter. If this had been Biden or anyone else, there would be total outrage at the SS response. Well, there is outrage, and yeah, somebody's probably going to get in trouble too. Somebody's going to lose their job out of this.
Dropped the ball. You've got a DEI, basically a person, a DEI initiative person who heads up our Secret Service. You know, she was working at Pepsi before this. I know she was a former Secret Service agent, but still, this is what happens when you don't put the best players in. It's a complete failure on our part. Somebody really dropped the ball. You've got a DEI, basically a person, a DEI initiative person who heads up our Secret Service.
Man, saying this kind of stuff out loud. It's crazy because they have the little language that they use to kind of cover up what they're really trying to say, but it's like, yeah, it's a DEI person in there. That's the reason why this happened. Okay. You know, they didn't hire the best person. They wanted to put a DEI person in there, and that's why this. So go ahead and say what you were really trying to say, bro. It says now that it's clear that the shooter was a 20-year-old white guy registered as a Republican, extremist Republican politicians are deflecting to blame DEI. Absolutely insane unless it stands for their dangerous gun laws, escalating violent rhetoric, ignorant fear-mongering. There's always time for racism in the grand old party. So it says GOP Representative Tim Burchett on Fox News is blaming a DEI in the Secret Service for the Trump shooting. It says Pennsylvania is one of 40 states that allow citizens to openly carry loaded semi-automatic rifles in public. This reporting demonstrates precisely what happens when law enforcement isn't sure whether someone is open carry or about to open fire. It says, here's more reporting on why the Secret Service did not shoot until after the shooter engaged. In some context about the House Republicans' investigation already underway months before Trump's assassination attempt. It says, as a symbol of their commitment to gun extremism, last year, some Republican members of Congress probably wore these lapel pins shaped like an AR-15, the same weapon a 20-year-old just used in Pennsylvania to try and assassinate their presidential candidate. It says, not long before shots rang out, rally-goers noticed a man climbing to the roof of a nearby building and warned local police, according to law enforcement officials. One local police officer climbed to the roof and encountered Crooks, who pointed his rifle at the officer. The officer retreated down the ladder, and Crooks quickly took a shot toward Trump. And that's when Secret Service snipers shot him, said the officials who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity to discuss ongoing. It says Republicans are staying on brand. It's not the guns. It's apparently DEI. Yet a father of two is dead. He isn't killed by diversity. He wasn't killed by diversity. Comment, it says, hi, I'm Gabby Gifford. Hi, I'm Paul Pelosi. Hi, I'm a Capitol Police officer. Hi, I'm 9 saints that were killed by Dylan Roof at a church in South Carolina. Hi, I'm the 18 victims massacred in Tops in Buffalo by a far-right extremist. Hi, I was massacred by a far-right extremist in El Paso. Hi, we brought bills making assault rifles illegal and gun control legislation. Republicans stood on kids' graves who were massacred and shouted, my right supersedes your dead. Let's not forget that those who incite political violence cannot now hide behind their own extremists and claim to be victims. Yeah, the gun argument is always going to come up whenever something happens like this. Comment says they never miss a chance to marinate in bigotry. Another one, the shooter was a white male registered Republican. Another comment, this is all hands on deck for November. Stay focused, people. Don't get distracted. Now they're saying DEI, meaning the N-word, did it. Vote these Republicans out of office, all of them. Make sure your voter registrations is valid and updated. Remember, Project 2025, our voting rights, civil rights, freedom, and freedom of our next generation to come. Vote blue, up and down the ballot, our rights to survive, da, 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 da. Can't finish reading that. It's too painful. I'm gonna lie, I'm getting tired. I want to talk about the lights before I get out of here. Let's do this one. It says the Philadelphia Inquirer confirms that Trump's shooter was a conservative Republican. Former classmates recalled him being staunchly to the right of the political spectrum. He definitely was conservative. The majority of the class were on the liberal side, but Tom, no matter what, always stood his ground on the conservative side, a former classmate said. Occupy Democrats, it says, there you have it, folks. See, they better not dare try to blame the left for it. Comment, it says, not trans, not a drag queen, not BLM, not Antifa, not a lib, as usual, a straight white male Republican. Another one, maybe he was Trump's gay lover. Oh, wait, no, that only applied to Paul Pelosi. Maybe it is a hoax just to clamp down on gun rights. No, wait, this is only for Sandy Hook. Maybe this was staged. No, wait, that only applied to when President Obama had bin Laden killed. Make sure you remind right-wingers of how they reacted to attacks on the other side. Yep, they're going to have a hard time explaining this away. You're going to have to do mental gymnastics. This is showing the timeline, which I pretty much covered earlier in that article. It says rally attendant. Hold on, let's read it. Let's start it over and just read it. Saturday, July 13th, Butler, Pennsylvania, 6:03. Former President Donald Trump takes the stage at a campaign event in Butler, Pennsylvania. Rally attendants have gone through a Secret Service security checkpoint before entering the event. Some supporters gather outside the perimeter. 6:05, Trump begins addressing the crowd. A team of Secret Service snipers is positioned on rooftops behind the former president. About 400 feet away, a 20-year-old gunman climbs on the roof of a manufacturing plant. Some supporters watching from outside the perimeter will later say they alerted police that an armed man had. About 8 minutes after Trump took the stage, gunshots are heard, and the former president ducks behind the podium. So it says, here's a look at the timeline of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. It says, why was he so focused on getting his shoes, and why the hell did he not have them on? So random. I don't know. They were uncomfortable. He didn't like standing at the podium with them. Who knows? It says Biden can't get through a debate and a bullet can't stop Donald Trump. It almost doesn't matter who the Democrats put up now, Bill Maher. No laughing matter. Liberal comedian Bill Maher condemns the attempted assassination of former President Trump. The staunch Trump critic explained why he's happy the former president is okay at the link in bio. Comment says Democrats will lose this election not because of yesterday. They had 4 years to prove that their vision is best for America, and all they did was make everyone's lives miserable. Another comment says Biden made Americans realize how valuable Trump is.
Speaking with some top Democrats, they believe that those Democrats who have the concerns about President Biden are now standing down politically, will back President Biden because of this fragile political moment. All of that talk about the debate faded almost instantly among my top Democratic sources as this unfolded, say it's time for the country to stick together, and that means Democrats sticking together as well. I've been speaking with some top Democrats. They believe that those Democrats who have the concerns about President Biden are now standing down politically, will back President Biden because of this fragile political moment. All of that talk about the debate faded almost instantly among my top Democratic sources as this unfolded, say it's time for the country to stick together, and that means Democrats sticking.
What does that mean? It says top Democrat sources believe that Democrats who had thoughts about challenging President Biden are now standing down because of the fragile political moment, CBS News' Robert Costa reports. Concerns about Biden's debate performance faded almost instantly after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, with Democratic sources say the party should stay cool at a turbulent time. Stay cool and lose. Yeah, let's switch gears because I'm probably gonna get out of here. Let's do this. It's Hardy Street and Cross Timber still underneath water over here. So the caption it says, "Y'all still saying it's not real." Someone said, "Nothing new. That's normal for that area." Another one that says, "They're not even concerned with the inner city. Center Point talking about days before we get power. We would starve over here on Cross Timbers. Food going bad." Sad. Really sad. It says, "This is nothing new. Houston has been aware of these problems for decades. Why in the hell hasn't anything been done to help these people, to help this city? What is the problem? It's not like Houston can't afford it. They take in billions of taxpayer money. Why hasn't this been improved? Where are the pumping stations for known flooded areas? Where is the underground drainage where these people need help? I don't know a lot about many other cities, but I know certain cities where it floods a lot, the water travels fast, and in these out, why hasn't something been done for Houston? The people in charge of the infrastructure improvement need to be fired immediately, and new people need to be brought in to fix this. This has been going on for a long time, years and years. There is no excuse for this. We are built on top of a swamp, but I would agree the infrastructure needs help. It needs improvement. A lot of people are getting upset now because it's been like almost a full week. It's been a full week now since the hurricane, and a lot of people still without power. It says Houston officials warn residents to stop threats towards CenterPoint employees. It must stop. It says one man threw a rock and brandished a gun while another battered an electrical crew's truck on a busy Houston highway in separate incidents that CenterPoint Energy said were examples of mounting threats and violence toward exhausted linemen in the wake of Hurricane Beryl. Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo addressed the situation in a Friday news conference. Yeah, it's really dumb. Like, these guys are just trying to do their job. Like, these guys are not who you have a problem with. Like, they don't have any freaking power over nothing. They're just out there doing what they need, what they were told to do. Like, they're just doing their job. Like, you're dumb as hell to attack these guys. They're just workers. It says, we have heard reports of someone pulling a gun on a group of linemen, somebody shooting pellets at the truck. I know people are angry at the situation, and the heat makes us all more frustrated, and the tempers run higher, but these folks are here just to help us. Yeah, man, the temperatures have been upper 90s this week, and these people don't have air conditioning, and these buildings are not very friendly to not having air conditioning. Houston Mayor John Whitmer said, I would ask Houstonians to respect the work these linemen are doing. I understand the anger and frustration about being without electricity, but you don't take it into your own hands and harass or threaten the linemen. They're here doing us a favor. Like, your stuff is not going to get done faster if you throw rocks at the guy who's doing the work to put your stuff back on. Like, the logic is not there, bro. Houston Chronicle, it says in an email Friday to local officials, warning of increasing criminal activity interfering with our restoration efforts, CenterPoint Energy highlighted an instance where a man ordered workers off his property at gunpoint. Our crews are working tirelessly to get the lights and air conditioning back on, and these threats unfortunately hinder those efforts and unfairly target our workers. June Dedrick, a CenterPoint vice president for community relations, wrote in an email interview on the Chronicle. Really, really, really stupid. Comments. It says, leave the workers alone. It's not their fault. It's definitely the people above them in the governor's mansion making the calls with the higher authority. I don't know about the governor's mansion, because Centerpoint is a company. Like, the governor doesn't have any. What the governor gonna do? Call the CEO and tell him, like, it just doesn't work like that. Another comment says, they should be directing the anger towards CPE's management. The workers are just doing their jobs. Another one, I wouldn't say they're doing us a favor, but I will say y'all shouldn't hurt the workers. It's the Centerpoint CEO that's the problem. Another comment, y'all are threatening the crews that are actually doing the work to restore the power. Yeesh. I'm telling you. Another comment, leave the linemen alone. It's the executives, not the linemen. Another one, we live in a world of unthankful people. Linemen do a dangerous job. Why threaten them? That was a massive hurricane. You cannot expect things to be back to normal in a short period of time. Be a realistic, people. Don't like it, move north. Geesh. These people are working in that awful heat. Yeah. People just feel like something ain't right with how this is being handled.
I was trying to do my best to give it a little time, but I think now it's time to really apply pressure. And that's Centerpoint. It's people out here damn near losing their lives. You know, it's 100 and some degrees outside. They don't have no AC. What's even more crazy is it's all these damn maps that's being put out saying this is the parts of town that power back on, and the people who living in that part of town ain't getting the power. So y'all need to for sure, one, check that. Two, we done been on this road before, man. We done been on this road with the ice storm, the tornadoes, everything else. If you know the grid gonna be a problem, then you need to focus on what's gonna be the resolution for the grid. Because clearly y'all can't control it. If you can't control it, then you need to be proactive. You know what I'm saying? Instead of waiting till the last minute like now. It's been 7 days, man. Imagine going all the places I go where you see people 80, 90 years old, heated, burning up. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to eat. Food spoiled. Imagine the people who on hospice right now. You know what I'm saying? Imagine people who on dialysis right now. It's like y'all damn near not even giving them the chance to fight. For real, for real. And I'm saying that, again, I understand we can't control natural disasters. But what I will say, man, we damn sure got to do something better. We need to figure it out. And then it's so crazy. I'm watching a lot of other shit be talked about rather than the real facts of what's going on. Like, man, get the goddamn power on. Whatever needs to be done, all this money everybody be begging for, talking about it's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars to get the city together, man. Fix the goddamn drainage system and do what needs to be done for this damn power, man. You got kids, elders, and everybody else out here really fucked up right now. And I'm talking directly to Centerpoint or whoever the fuck in charge of it. And get that shit together.
Yeah, man. Talking about the elderly and old folks that are in the homes, and people every summer someone dies from the heat and not having electricity or not having AC in their home or whatever. Every summer people die here in Houston. So yeah, this is exacerbating that situation. My mom is over here with me right now. Like, they still don't have lights at her place, and she's been over here half the week already. Trey posted this. He says, to the people in charge of Centerpoint Energy who make the decisions, I'm talking directly to you. Get your stuff together. Comment, it says, day 7, I'm in Humble. Hold on. Day 7, I'm in Humble, 77338, still no power. Another comment, it says, Trey for governor. Ain't no one doing nothing. Some BS story, different natural disaster. Nothing will change, and the same is will happen again. Next disaster that rolls around. Just watch. Another one. Just got a call from Centerpoint. My lights will not be on until the 19th. Ooh. Hopefully they're telling you the truth too. Another part, it says cold part is they said that was just a category 1 hurricane. Ain't no effing way that was just a category 1. To do the city like that had to be at least a 3 because Houston never was that bad after a hurricane on a category 1. Imagine if it was really a category 4. Shaking my head. It was only a 1. We did get a lot of wind, but another comment says the fact they still expect us to pay the bill is what's crazy. Yeah, they need to improve the infrastructure, but also people need to be patient. Like people were tripping after it was 1 day after the storm, like 2 days after the storm. And it's like, they don't even know where the damage is. They have to be careful. If they start sending power through some lines that are down, then it can hurt people, start fires. I'm not making excuses for them. Another comment says they better not charge nothing extra next bill. Another one, HLMP was required to put all profits into infrastructure. Centerpoint doesn't want to dip into profits, even though they have already said they are passing the bill to the people they are failing. Yeah. Yep. They have a monopoly too. So that's the thing. They really do have a monopoly. It's only the one company that services this huge amount of people, this huge area. And that shouldn't be. I think they should bust that company up. And after this, it'll probably be calls for that. And that CEO ain't going to make it out of this. He's not going to make it out of this. They're going to have to let him go. Another comment says, we continue to elect people that don't give a F. We really need to amend the number of terms the governor can hold. It's currently like he's a dictator. He makes decisions in a vacuum and doesn't consider his constituents. We deserve better. Again, I don't think that you can blame the government for this. It's a private company that is over this. So blame the company that provides this service. It's not the as much as I don't like Abbott, he's not even here. You got an acting governor right now, Dan Patrick, and where the hell is Abbott, bro? The state is in a disaster, and this dude is not even here. Where the hell are you, bro? Where are you at, bro? What's more important than a disaster happening in your state that you govern? Help me understand. Let me see. Do we have some more on this? Y'all, give me a second. We were talking too long. There was a lot of stuff I meant to get to that I didn't make it to. I might have to do a part 2 of this show tomorrow. Let me see. Let me play this.
All right, this morning we are still getting tons of questions from you asking about the new Centerpoint map. Here's Marcelino Benito with a closer look.
We've been getting a lot of emails from people who are confused, even angry about Centerpoint's outage map, saying they show their neighborhood has power, but their houses are still in the dark. So we want to go through what we know about these maps and what Centerpoint is telling us. First, this version of the outage map is relatively new. It just came out on Friday. But what makes this different from earlier maps is it now includes color coding to show an estimate of when power might be turned back on for your area.
starting with bright green for today and yellow for July 19th. That, of course, is next Friday. Now, say your home is in a green area where CenterPoint says the circuit is energized, but you're still in the dark. Well, CenterPoint says you may be part of what they call a nested outage. That means the main circuit is on, but there could be a more localized issue, like a damaged fuse line or a transformer, or there could be damage to your weatherhead. That's where power is brought into your home. That would need to be repaired by an electrician before CenterPoint can turn everything on again.
Right now, about 400,000 Texans are still without power a week after Beryl hit the state as a Category 1 hurricane. Tonight, Governor Abbott is asking the Public Utilities Commission to investigate what he says is a failure by CenterPoint Energy, the main power provider in Houston.
Power companies along the Gulf Coast must be prepared to deal with hurricanes, to state the obvious. Early appearances, however, suggest that some power companies are not adequately prepared for a hurricane like Beryl. CenterPoint in particular has repeatedly failed to deliver power to customers for extended periods.
Governor Abbott says he is giving CenterPoint until the end of the month to give his office specific actions to address power reliability. He says they will also be debating additional changes at the Capitol. Right now,
Yeah, so I guess Abbott is back. You came back, bro? Where were you at? Where were you, bro?
I know everyone at CenterPoint who's in an air-conditioned office is watching. A freight train's coming. You just heard it. You better be prepared. Whether you're at the top or any part of management who oversaw this response or preparation, everybody's job should be on the line. We will not and cannot tolerate this. I'm sitting here looking at this saying that Mac has up on the wall. Respect is earned by consistent, excellent behavior over long periods of time. CenterPoint once, I would say, was a company that we had confidence in. All of us up here and most of the public. We've had many storms. They've responded well. They totally failed in preparation and they failed in response. They have lost respect from the city of Houston and the surrounding areas that they service. I asked 10 questions, proposed 10 questions that we will ask during Senate hearings, and we will have Senate hearings. Right now, my focus is get everybody to get the power up. Don't worry about answering the questions today. Get the power on. We have people suffering out there today in 100-degree heat that have not had power and won't have it for another day or two or more. But we will have hearings beginning in August, and there will be lots of questions. But one of my first questions is, does CenterPoint still look at Houston as a priority of their business? They're a different company than they used to be. Is it all, as the governor said, at the bottom line and not about human life? Mac is a successful business person because he says, buy it today, I'll deliver it tonight. Well, if I don't get my Tempur-Pedic mattress from Mac tonight, I don't die. If they don't deliver when they're expected to deliver, people have and will die. Secondly, when it comes to storms, they were not prepared. They did not think this was going to be a serious storm. They didn't think it was going to hit Houston. It's obvious by their preparation. CenterPoint has to understand, as does every utility company on the coast, that anytime there's a tropical storm in the Gulf, whether it's predicted to be a hurricane or not, you have to prepare as if it's going to be the worst storm to hit Houston, where the biggest population is, or any area they cover, or any other company.
Well, in their defense, it was looking like it wasn't going to directly hit Houston all the way up until the last, about a day or so before it hit is when they were saying, yes, it's probably going to directly hit Houston. So, but again, I think that he's right. They should have been more prepared. Let's read some comments. It says, you mean just because you give corporations all the money they ask for, they still don't care about their customers? Shocker. Another one, stop the monopoly. That's what the problem is. Another comment. And now linemen are waiting to work because Texas is negotiating finances with them. Insane. Another one, a politician scolding the rich and powerful, pretending that they don't sell out to them, the very same people. Another one, blame game has started. It says, the guy on the take acting like they will hold CenterPoint accountable. This is how stupid your elected officials think you are. It says, the governor and his staff are responsible too. Another one, CenterPoint response is like a child with ADD. They repaired my subdivision, all the homes except 20 of us. They left and won't be back. We are nested outage. We are a nested outage. We have a cutout fuse, 20-minute fix. Why don't they check to see if all the homes have been fixed before leaving? Another comment. Why is this company given a monopoly over 100 years ago, is running a utility as a corporation trading on the stock market? Who is the concern in this situation? The stockholders, not the public and the people paying the bills. Why is the CEO getting millions every year in compensation when my rates continue to go up and up? Where is all the money being spent? I lived in other states and in other places. The power company is run as a utility. Its goal is not to run for profit. All the money you spend on your power bill goes to pay employees, and the rest goes into maintaining the grid and upgrades. Turning the electric grid into a casino to enrich a few is what they have today. A total failure of the leadership of these corporations, but also a failure in the leadership of the state who allowed this to happen. So this is where the focus needs to be, I think. Profit over people. As long as you keep on deregulating these folks and letting them do whatever they want and let them make as much profit as they can, then of course they're going to do this. I mean, they're going to cut corners. They're not going to put money into infrastructure because that's going to mess up their compensation packages. It's going to mess up their dividends. That's going to enrage their stockholders. Another comment. They took too long to put power back on because they were too busy negotiating how much you were going to pay these guys. CEO of CenterPoint, can you believe that they were negotiating? They didn't want to pay them to what they wanted. Had to throw all my food in the fridge. Another comment. It's Texas. The neglect is criminal. Another one. No need for prayer from leaders. The people need results. Looks like there's been no oversight from the Texas Republican leadership for possibly years. Another one. I wonder how much stock these two have with CenterPoint. Another one. Lake Houston still has fallen trees on power lines. This is an outrage. Another one. Where's the highly talked about Energy Reliability Council? A grid so independent it takes one company to ruin. Yeah, buddy. I think I'm going to get out of here because
Right now,
I'm tired. All right. I work today and I might do a part 2 of this. Because I had some more stuff. Let me see if it's something I really need to do. Yeah, I'm going to just come back to this because it's so much. It's so much. I'm going to have to do a show. I'm going to have to do one on Monday. It's too much. Anyways, y'all, peace and love. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. I'm out.